August of 2006, the war in northern Uganda officially came to an end. For the people of northern Uganda, who had lived for over 2 decades in fear from war, displacement, and atrocities inflicted upon them by the Lord's Resistance Army, it was a chance to find peace and rebuild their lives. The transition from war to peace would not be easy, but especially for the young girls and women who had been abducted by the Lord's Resistance Army. As former LRA captives began returning from the bush to their homes and villages, many young girls and women returned pregnant or with children. Even though they had been raped or had been sex slaves of the LRA, these young mothers and their children were often shunned by their communities for bearing children with the enemy.
I was one abducted. I've been in the bush for over 1.5 years with the rebels, and I got pregnant because I was forced to get married to a man, and I got pregnant at the age of 15. It wasn't easy because when I came back with a child, my mother was killed, my dad was killed, and I never dreamed of coming back to school again because I knew that was the end of life and no hope.
We first heard about the Pader Academy before it really was an academy, when it was just children occupying a UNICEF tent in the dusty town of Pader. I heard about this woman who had taken girls who had come back from the bush, who had been abducted by the LRA, and was teaching them to bake, had constructed an outdoor oven to create food for the relief agencies that were in Pader. This was the beginning of the Pader Girls Academy.
The Pader Girls Academy houses and educates the young mothers, their children, and mothers-to-be who were affected by the war. It is the only school in northern Uganda where girls who are pregnant or have children can be educated.
The education facilities and system in Uganda does not give rooms for girls with babies and pregnant girls to access education. The government and the community are not prepared, or we are not ready to accept these girls, because culturally are supposed to be married, be as a housewife, be the husband and a wife at home. So Pader girls became very necessary in supporting these girls, their integration process to education and rehabilitation.
In addition to providing standard secondary education and vocational training, the Academy provides support for young mothers through housing, daycare centers, and personal health and childcare training.
They allowed me to come with my baby to school, and I started studying with my baby. And now my baby is in daycare, studying also, and I'm also studying, okay. My life have now changed. My life is not as before.
You find that girls who have dropped out due to pregnancy, they are more determined, and their performance is always really very good. And to me, it makes me proud that these girls are aware of themselves. They know what they want. They know that whether I'm pregnant or not, it should not stop me to access education. It's my right to study.
It was a surprise when staff of CCF went to the villages to recruit people who have the heart to go back to school. And when I heard that, I thought it was a miracle, and I didn't know it was going to work. But I thank God it worked for me.
The Pader Girls Academy is supported by the Uganda Fund, a U.S. public charity and registered NGO in Uganda. Based on research by the MacArthur Foundation, the Uganda Fund seeks to cultivate peace and prosperity in northern Uganda by making a long-term commitment to local grassroots initiatives and focusing on children.
The fund focused on children because they are the next generation for Uganda's leadership. Without their rehabilitation, the country faces an uncertain future, and there is no guarantee that the cycle of war will not be repeated. I think that the Padere Girls Academy is really a living example of the kind of leadership training and long-term institution building that the fund was set up to promote.
In the next 15 years, we should give opportunity for girls who have dropped out due to pregnancy, even if at the age of 25, they should at least be able to read, learn, and write. So if in Uganda we had maybe greatest percentage of women who are educated and learn and they have skills, we would really address the issues of poverty. This academy is a very good model that it must be replicated in other parts of the country.
After many years living in the bush, becoming desperate and no hope, but when I came back to school, it was a big surprise. Being the head of all the students, it was amazing. Yeah, and I believe there's something good going to happen in my future because I still have hope.